Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video I'll be doing my team reveal 2.0 for the BBL SuperCoach season, which starts 20 days away, so probably means there will be a 3.0 and potentially a 4.0 as a lot of things going to change very quickly with terms of players availability and etc, and especially when we start looking into strategies about like what are we going to do with trades, etc. As you know, you can always just look, it's a good starter to obviously look at what's going to happen in round one, but you also, if you really want to take it seriously, got to look at 2, 3, 4 rounds into the future and potentially almost line up your whole set of trades going into the every round basically. But before we get into the video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and let's get into the video. So as you can see here, this side doesn't look too much different in comparison, as I just flicked down and you probably saw some differences. So from memory, de Kock was the same principle. He's playing twice, and if we look down here, 2 games, 1, 2 games, 1, 1, 1, and then the bye, and then 1, 1. But basically want him just for this big section here. Then I'll just put a, when does McDermott play his doubles? McDermott plays his double in round 7, which is oddly lining up with Quinton de Kock playing having a bye, so McDermott will just slide right into there if he is playing well enough, or we'll just find another player like Matthew Wade or something like that who can play right in here for that time, or we could just put Philippi in there, but there is a chance that Philippi does get traded out for someone in their doubles as he is playing singles throughout there. But that is the basic keeper plan, and the Whiteman, we'll see how he goes, but the plan probably will be to trade him out in round 4 or round 5 as he's got the bye round. He could be a good loophole in that first round 4 bye round, but there's generally, when you have guys on doubles, it's going to be very rare that you can lock in your sort of captain score after, or VC score after one game, as it's very rare. You need like a Maxwell or a who else? Tom Curran could probably do it. Someone that scores like a 70 off 30 or something like that, as well as picked up 2 wickets. They basically need to score probably 150 or so for me to be confident to just put the to not even put the captaincy like score on the other guy. You need to basically have outscored what that guy's going to do in 2 games in 1 game, which is very hard to do for a lot of these guys that can average 40, 50, 55, 60 points. So it would be very rare, but it would be good if Whiteman could be used in that captaincy role for that point. But he does have this doubles in round 6 and round 7, which could be interesting if he is still the keeper at that point. But we'll probably be looking at other Perth players to be playing in that role. But will be interesting to see if we can trade him out in round 5 to realise the cash and get him to like a Nielsen. But we could also look at round 6 and round 7 if he's holding a good break even to get him out after his doubles. To then for the last couple games, because that will probably, if he's doing really well by then, and I haven't traded him out by here because he's hold a good break even in round 3, and I don't want to trade him out because he's still playing and Inglis isn't going to come back, and then round 6 rolls around, good break even here. If he stays until round 8 here, we're probably looking at him being 140, 150k by then, most likely, and getting him down to Nielsen. Even if Nielsen is 80k, 60k gained from that, you can move anyone here, and I'd be getting in a guy on his double, and it will just help massively with guys on their double. Especially even, I mean, who has the double in the last round? I mean, just looking here, Adelaide, they don't have a double. They only have round 6. We talked about Hobart. They don't have a double. I don't believe, is round 8 a non-double round? Round 7 has a huge Brisbane double as well. We talked about the Sixers having no double. And I'll try and find anyone. We talked about Morris would have, we already talked about them. The Renegades, they don't have any doubles. The Stars, they don't have any doubles. So I don't know if any team actually has a double in the latter rounds. Could we, let me just quickly search up. I can actually find it here. Let's search up the round 8 Anyone have a double here? Just looking off the top of it, it doesn't look like we have any double here. It looks like everyone plays once in round 8, and then in round 9, Sydney Thunder have the double there. So you could look to trade him out to help facilitate the Thunder boys getting them in potentially round 8 or round 9, depending on performance, because you could have a batter that's just going ballistic and you need him for round 8, and that also helps in round 9. But yeah, definitely trying to get those Heat, Hurricanes, and Perth have the doubles in round 7. So that is certainly something to look out for when you're doing trades for round 6 and round 7, is to get the Perth guys in round 6, and then hold McDermott hopefully for that, as well as holding potentially a McSweeney or a Nessa or something like that for round. Well, Nessa's probably going to be gone by then. Maybe a Johnson or a Billings or something like that through here to facilitate round 7, as well as the Perth guys that we talked about, potentially Whiteman or Morris, but Morris will probably be gone by then, and it'll be like a Richardson or something by then, and potentially a Mitchell Marsh if he isn't playing Test cricket, but he looks odds on to play Test cricket. But we'll see on that front. Anyway, back to the bigger screen for you guys. So we talked about the keepers. I mean, I forgot to talk about Billings, actually. Billings could slot in here at that in that round 7 de Kock bye round, as if he's still here, which he could be, given that he's got the Sam Billings here. That's season 2022 here. There we go. As you see here, he's got a very interesting week. So he's gonna either be traded out in round 3, or round 2, depending on his performance. In that opening 3-game split, but if he's good enough, he might hold his way through till round 8 or whatever, round 9, when trade him out for like a Thunder player. But he could be very useful in round 7 just to place up here if Ben McDermott isn't doing good enough. But I expect Ben McDermott to bounce back. And then a weird one here is I said Darcy Short isn't going to be good enough. He's not going to be this. He's not going to be this. And then he ends up being my team. And the thing is, he may be in shocking form, but there's only so much lower he can go. And he's on the bench at the moment. And we don't necessarily have to play him, but he is the most useful guy to have on the side, because of his form 2 years ago in 21-22 was 715 at 51. And that priced him, as you can see here, around that 156. So that's like 90k overs. His price dropped 80k last year because of the 21 average that he had, just because he provided no wickets with the ball in 10 games, and don't know how many overs he had. And then he only provided 153 with the bat. I suspect he gets into some sort of form, and there's basically no risk with this. I think that's the play that's going to happen here, is that Darcy Short plays 1 in round 1. Looking here, he plays Brisbane Heat in round 1. If he can get off to a good start and get a 30 or 40, then we can just play him in round 2, because he's got the double against the 2 Sydney sides. And look at that average against the Sydney sides in 10 games, 67. If he gets anywhere close to that, he's going to be absolutely huge. And, I mean, he could easily be a cash generation tool. And then just trade him out in round 3 down to some other rookie or something like that, potentially. Or just hold him, as he could be a good way to loophole the players in. As round 3, I don't think anyone else from my side will necessarily have. As I don't know if I'll necessarily go Rashid Khan in round 2, because he's got that round 3 bye, as that would be trading him in to almost trade him out. Because I don't really like the look of Siddle on field necessarily, but Siddle does have the double, so we'll see how he performs early. If he does perform early well and gets the games, then I'll definitely consider playing him on field in that round 3 when he's got the double, because basically all I want to do is have as many doubles as I can on the field, and to put up that much cash on the bench in Rashid Khan and potentially Darcy Short in round 3 when they don't play is pretty dangerous, as well as having potentially a Brisbane Heat guy on the bench as well at that time is pretty dangerous, because Michael Ness is probably going to have to come out on my side in round 3 to probably a cash saving like Stoinis or something like that. As they play the double, they go double, single, double. And so that's probably the way it's going to go into a Stars player here somewhere, whether it be a batter or a bowler, depending on what I need. So yeah, a lot of the guys here probably are going to go and get switched out and traded around. The only guys I can really see here staying are probably Abbott, Philippe, and Curran's probably going to go because he has to leave early anyway. So he's going to go. McSweeney's going to go. Billings is probably going to go. As he said, Nessa's too much to hold at that price, so he's going to have to be traded out and potentially traded back in straight away. Or do they have a round where I don't have to? I don't have to get him in back until around round 7, I don't think, and then he could get him back round 6 or something like that, and then round 7, round 8, and then trade him back out again. So he might be traded in and out multiple times just because you need him for those games when he plays double up, just because of his batting and bowling skills. Abbott, Morris is going to go. Zampa's probably going to go, and this is the guy that I was talking about with Renshaw was there because originally, but now Renshaw is not in my side just because he's got I'm banking on him playing Prime Minister's 11, and Zampa won't. And Zampa has the double. But the good thing about Zampa is I banker in a good way, a round 3 double here that I don't have to sit because he doesn't have a bye. I don't have to trade him out at all and can trade him out in round 7 with Quinton de Kock at round 7 for those guys on the triple team doubles that happen in round 7. So just thinking ahead, and that's one of the moves that I think it could easily flop, and Renshaw could do crazy and McSweeney could do bad, and I just picked the wrong players in not getting Renshaw. But I have a sneaky suspicion that that Renshaw's obviously going to be Prime Minister 11, which will take away his round 1 availability for that triple. And also that setting up for Zampa will allow me to, hear me out here, will allow me to be able to trade out the value that I've got in Swepson to a 60k guy. They all play, so just a cash generation, low break-even guy in round 2, which will save me. It may cost me 20 to 30 points by not going a Brisbane Heat player, but it will get me potentially 20 to 30k across the season, and 20 to 30k in cash gen, potentially from this Swepson move to a low break-even guy, will potentially gain me back 40 to 50 points, in my opinion, across the year, especially in that back end when the Perth play double. As well as that round 9 Sydney Thunder game, whereas we've seen in past fantasy games, not really in the AFL fantasy. I know it's a different game, different platform, but the AFL fantasy we saw this year, we had almost too much cash, but also it sort of blends in with this point here that we saw a difference with the way I played fantasy in the men's and women's in the AFL. Men's, I had too much cash, but it was on the bench. And I had too much cash in general, to be honest, but it was all stuck on the bench, so I couldn't culminate it into a star sort of first off the bench. It was like Windhager and some other guys off the bench, so it wasn't the greatest. Whereas the women's, I had nothing off the bench and couldn't generate enough cash gen because I hadn't realised the cash. So it's all about trying to realise the cash here off the bench early, and just keep that cash gen, getting it realized, getting it onto the field or back into low break-even guys to catapult that cash even more, because that's the way you're going to get that team value up massively early, and it's going to help you late game when you can trade out your bench guys to get those top tier guys like a Short, like a Richardson, Sams, etc. Sam's going to be so dangerous if you can get him in that last game. Game week round 9, I think, and the players that can get him alongside not damaging their structure too much in getting like a 100k guy like a Nash and Turner instead in round 9 will be the guys that go on and win it. So that basically sums up the preview here for Team Preview 2.0, which hopefully will be out on the Saturday if I line it up correctly. But anyway, that is the video, and I'll see you guys in the Sunday video, which will probably be a Sydney Swans draft preview as we get closer to the draft and we sort of know, and that's probably going to take a little bit longer to edit, so I want an actual free day to do it. But anyway, that's the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.